традиційне представлення, потім лекція, потім серія запитань-відповідей, якщо вони є, потім
Yeah, I will start for this event today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to visiting lecture today. For everyone, to those who has entered the room, we are about to begin. So please have a seat and make yourself comfortable.
окей.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Honorable Olena Chumachenko, PhD, from Hlukhiv National Pedagogical University from Ukraine, and a very warm welcome to the all participants and students from STEKOM University. Is it indeed a pleasure to have all of you on this memorable occasion? And I would like to thank God for gathering us here in a visiting lecture program regarding European political integration history and nowadays. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we will start for this class today. Dr. Olena, the time is yours. Thank you.
Okay. So let's begin.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Well, I'm very glad to moment. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm very glad to provide the lecture for you. And today we are going to talk about European political integration. Well, if we are talking about integration, you know, there are different forms, there are different directions can be, but if we are talking about European Union, well, there are some different parts of the process of integration. And first of all, today our subject to talk and to maybe to discuss is political integration. Okay, let's start then. Okay, вот эта штука мне мешает, уберите. And one moment, please. If you have any questions for me, you can also ask these questions in chat. Please, you can write, and after lecture, I'll try to answer your questions. Okay. Well, let's start. Мне эта штука мешает. If you know, the European Union is an international organization. This international organization is very powerful nowadays. It's a huge global actor, and this actor plays a very important and a significant role in the international relations in the world. Okay, today it's a supranational political organization and economic union. Today, 26 country members play a very important role, and these countries are united in one organization absolutely freely. Okay, nowadays European Union promotes peace, security, prosperity, and the interests of European citizens. And to this end, the EU works to prevent and to resolve conflicts not only in Europe but also in the world, because it's very important to protect European citizens from any consequences of the world of conflicts in the world. Okay. Well, And it is very interesting to know that the European idea had appeared. Okay, there were a lot of different projects and different approaches to European unification during the history, during the historical development of the continent. And all these projects are based on some motives and needs. First of all, to overcome hostility and battle between European nations. Also, some countries wanted to prevent the hegemony of one state in Europe. Okay, once more, motive to unite Europe was the economic benefit, and also to get a leading role in Europe and in the world. Okay, well, in 19th century, famous writer Victor Hugo, he appealed to the Congress of Friends of Peace in Paris and called for the creation of a United States of Europe. It was very fresh idea to create such organization, and he appealed to European countries such as France, Russia, Italy, England, and Germany to unite to one federation, to unite to one federation without losing distinctive features or prominent individuality, and to be closer and to create a very close federation, and to create European fraternity. This idea was very important because European philosophers, writers, officials, public officials tried to find the way to avoid wars in the future. After the First World War, there were some specific reasons to revive the idea of European unification, and one of the famous or prominent leader of the European movement was Count Richard von Coudenhove-Kalergi, Austrian Count. He played the most active role in popularizing the idea of the European unification. He created a pan-European movement as organization. He also wrote презентация. Ладно, все. Okay. Well, he in his book he wrote about necessity to unite French steel resources and German coal resources under the one ruling, to avoid the battle, the contradictions between these countries in future, to avoid the war. As you can see on this map, after the First World War, the European, there were a lot of different country frontiers between the states, and there were a lot of barriers in trade, in the movement of goods, services, capitals, and so far. Also, Coudenhove-Kalergi started stated that modern wars required participants of gigantic industrial potential. Therefore, it is possible to avoid a conflict between powers by placing their resources under collective control. And you can see on this map that France and Germany, these countries are neighbors, and this country had resources on their boundaries, and during a history process, this country battled between each other for these resources, for steel and for the coal. And by the way, this struggle was one of the reasons of the First World War. Also, this idea was not unique. Also, for the French Foreign Minister Aristide Briand in 1929 also made a speech at the League of Nations Assembly in Geneva, and he called for the formation of the European Federation. Federation is a special organization in which different countries unite their resources under one control. He proposed to specify this idea and memorandum on the organization of the regime of European Federal Union, and published. This idea was published by the French government in May 1930. You can see that this idea was not only on the public level, but also on the state officials level. So the establishment of the fascist regime in Europe and the First World War, the Second beginning, played a catalytic role in increasing the credibility of the idea of European unification. And also the driving force behind this process was the resistance movement, which advocated the idea of European unity. And you can also know that Léon Blum, French socialist, he called for the protection of the independence of nations within the federal and disarmed Europe. Well, so after the Second World War, maybe at the time, well, at the moment of, during the Second World War, there were a lot of new movements against the war, resistant movements, and all these resistant movements were connected with the idea of European unification after the end of the Second World War. Among these representatives also was the European Federalist movement. This movement was founded in Milan, in Italy, by a group of activists led by Altiero Spinelli. Altiero Spinelli, after the Second World War, would be one of the prominent followers of European idea, of European integration. He propagated European integration alongside with the numerous public organizations. After the Second World War, this federal movement played a crucial role in establishing the first European political organization, Council of Europe. Council of Europe, it is not part of European Union nowadays, but at those time, Council of Europe was the first political integration and the first political organization, sorry. Well, also one of the fathers of European integration was the former Prime Minister of Great Britain, Winston Churchill. You know, he was prominent, he was outstanding politician, and he had speech in Zurich in 1946, and he called for former enemies such were Germany, France, and Great Britain to unite and to create the United States of Europe. Absolutely, as the same. This idea was the same idea of Victor Hugo, French writer in the 19th century, as you can remember. I've just told about it. And Winston Churchill also called nations to unite and to create United States of Europe. And also Winston Churchill helped different European movements to unite their opinions about the ways of unification, and he counterparted with Americans also, and to get some money to organize a special forum or special summit or conference. For example, Winston Churchill was one of organizers of the European Congress in Hague in 1948. You can see on this picture that there were a lot of people, different different delegations from all Europe countries, and you can see also this sign E. I just told you about the European Federalist Movement. This emblem of this movement also was presented on this Congress, and due to the Congress, Council of Europe was created in 1949 in a year, and it was a big compromise between different European organizations after the Second World War. And this organization creation was coincided in time with the creation of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. You can maybe you know about this organization. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization was created also in April of 1949, and it was very important for Europe because it was the first political organization whose aim was to protect democracy, human rights, national identification of countries, and so forth. Well, let's go on. Well, okay. Now let's make a definition of integration. What integration is? You know that integration is a process, not one maybe act, but a process of different actions. Well, integration is a process of United States or uniting states in the economic, political, military, and other spheres with elements of supranationalism. Well, in different spheres with elements of supranationalism. What does supranationalism mean? Well, supranationalism is a legal quality of an international organization in which sovereign member states transfer part of their sovereignty to supranational bodies. Well, it is very maybe hard to give a part of state sovereignty to some another bodies, because sovereignty is very valuable, and in such integration organization, different country members agree to give some sovereignty, yes, to special bodies to make for making decisions that are binding on member states. It's very important condition to fulfill all the decisions of these supranational bodies by all the country members. It's a supranationalism. Only the European Union now has this supranationalism principle of decision making, and that's why we can consider European Union as one juridical organism, as one subject, absolutely unified subject of international relations, and only the European Union has such principle of decision-making, supranationalism. Okay, well, there were also some concepts of European integration, and let's consider only two of them: federalism versus functionalism, because these are concepts of integration absolutely on the contrary. Well, first of all, what federalism is? Federalism as a concept was created during the Second World War by Amita Etzioni, and he stated that, he believed that states should unite in a single federation under the authority of a single government. Such a principle. Unite in one federation of a single movement. Also, the decisive role in this process of unification belongs to political institutions. Political institutions, you know that, for example, president, yes, parliament, okay, council of ministers maybe, and a minister for foreign affairs. So far, this is political institutions. Well, and also he believed that political integration is a condition for advancing towards economic union. Well, in other words, first of all, it is necessary to create political union to unite a country in political spheres such as foreign affairs, military, and so on, but only after that you can move to economic integration, well, to economic union. Well, on the contrary of federalism, there were different other ideas about concepts, okay, and among them was maybe most popular functionalism by, вот как мне увидеть, Amita Etzioni. David Mitrani, okay? Okay. Well, according to David Mitrani, states should begin cooperation on unification in non-political spheres, non-political, economic maybe, social, technical, environmental spheres. These spheres can lead to a division of sovereignty, not unification of sovereignty, but division of sovereignty, and in prospect to the political integration of states. In other words, it is necessary to begin to solve at the least difficult problems. Unite in maybe some little spheres, from solution of which the obvious benefits will be received by all participants in future. Well, let's start in economic sphere, maybe in one sector of economy. Well, and only after successes of in this sphere, we can go on, we can step further to to integrate in other spheres and go to the political union. Well, and if you know, maybe that functionalism would be the lead theory of European integration in future. Well, forms of European integrations. You can maybe you maybe know that European Union nowadays European Union passed very important stages in its development. First of all, from the very beginning, when the first European communities were created, well, the first form was the free trade zone. Well, the next, the creation of custom union. Without or custom union, it's a limitation of different trade barriers between countries. Okay. Well, the next is creation of internal market. Well, the next is creation of economic and monetary union. Well, a monetary union, it's a very specific creation. Well, when our currency, the common currency was provided on the territory of European Union. And the final stage is a political union and formation of military structures. Well, and now let's talk about stages of European integration very shortly, because you know this topic, European integration, is absolutely vast. There are a lot of different directions we can talk about, but let's shortly talk about the stages of European integration. The first stage, it's creation of community of the six. You can see on this map 6 countries: France, West Germany, Netherlands, Luxembourg, and Belgium, and also Italy. 6 countries are united to the first European integration community. Well, in 1951 was signed the Paris Treaty about European coal and the European coal and steel community creation. Well, it was a task to create a common market for goods, services, labor force, capitals in the sphere of coal and steel. Well, this idea about unification of French steel and German coal was realized at last. Well, also at those times it was an attempt to create, so thank you so much. Thank you. It was an attempt to create a European defense community, a military political alliance according to the Pleven's plan, who was the Prime Minister of France, but this idea was failed by France. Well, let's go on. Well, the next stage was very successful also in European economic integration. First of all, in 1957, 2 treaties was signed, Roman treaties, Rome, it is a capital of Italy. Well, first of all, European Economic Community was created, and also European Atomic Energy Community was created, okay? Well, by the same 6 countries. And according to these Roman treaties, there was a task to create a custom union, the single agricultural market, and so on and so forth. And it was very successfully for them. And as you can see from this slide, the custom union was created by 1968. Also, a single agricultural market was formed, and Well, this process of prosperity, maybe prosperity of European communities was very favorable for European citizens. And maybe at this time also the main institutions were created. I mean executive and legislative bodies of the communities, of these three communities. Also, I repeat once more. European Coal and Steel Community 1, European Economic Community, and European Atomic Energy Community, 3 communities, and all these 3 communities had their own ruling institutions, okay, bodies with elements of supranationalism. Well, and to avoid some maybe complications between these communities, because the members of these communities were the same 6 countries. Well, the decision was made to unite these ruling bodies into the one European Commission as an executive body, Council of Ministers as a legislative body, European Parliament as a legislative body, and also to European Court of Justice, well, as a juridical special court. Well, and this period, the stage 2, also prominent with the first enlargement of the European Economic Community, as you can see, in 1973, Great Britain, Denmark, and Ireland joined to the European Community. Okay, the next stage was not so successful, maybe. You can see from the mid of 1970s to mid 1980s, it was the stagnant years. Also, I was called as Eurosclerosis. It was very sharp crisis in the development of EEC, maybe because of a world crisis in economy, maybe because of the crisis in oil prices. But the next, during this period, there was some steps to cooperate between countries, European country members in political spheres. Maybe it was the attempt to create political community also. But the next stabilization that began with attempts to create an economic and monetary union and to establish a mechanism of for military potential consultation also was made. Well, the next stage, as you can see from this slide, from the mid of 1980 to 1992, it was the period of steady development and the restoration of integration processes. First of all, in 1986, the Single European Act was adopted. This was a special document that aimed country members to prepare for creation of the European Union itself. Okay, also the period of creation of European Union, completing the creation of the domestic market, process of creating the economic and monetary union started. And also during this period, the second and the third enlargement of the EEC took place. As you can see, Greece and Spain and Portugal joined to the EEC. So at the beginning of 90s, 12 country members tried to prepare to create the European Union. Well, the next stage well, is characterized by building a political union. First of all, in 1992, the Maastricht Treaty about creation of the European Union was signed. Also, the first, the fifth, and the sixth enlargements of EU took place. And you can see from this slide that a huge number of new countries became members of the EU. And at the moment of 2005, there were 25 countries as members of the European Union. It was a very huge territory, about 450 million people, European citizens, and European Union became a very powerful and very powerful unification of nations on the political arena, on the world arena, international relations, so on. Also, in 2005, European Union country members tried to adopt a European constitution, but this project was failed by, first of all, France and Netherlands, because this country failed the referendums. And these referendums were negative, and this constitution treaty wasn't ratified, so it was a big fail. And European politicians started preparation for new treaty, maybe in another form, because they wanted to complete the process of political integration. Also, you can see an attempt to create autonomous military political structures in the EU took place. Okay. Well, and nowadays, from 2007 up to now, the very important events, such as Treaty of Lisbon conclusion. Also, this treaty was to make some changes in Maastricht Treaty about European Union for the institutional forms, first of all, and to complete the process of political integration. Also, there were some institutional reforms. This last stage of political integration building began, and the EU began play an important role in a global security system, because the special global strategy was adopted. And according to the strategy, European Union took an obligation to protect not only European countries, but also different countries in the world from violence, from different conflicts, and so on. And that's why European Union nowadays helps Ukraine to combat Russian aggressor, and also support Ukraine in its battle for democracy, for integrity, for independence, and so on. But European Union now helps or assists not only Ukraine, but different nations in the world, because European Union connects with different countries by special strategies, special treaties. And for example, as you know, recently the summit of between EU and ASEAN as such an international organization took place. Because the European Union also is a strategic partner of almost all Asian countries, and also give a lot of money for different projects to this region. Well, well, and now I want to tell you about some specific features of European political integration, because we've just talked about different aspects of integration. First of all, economic, but there are some very interesting facts about political integration. Political integration of the EU starts with the Treaty of Brussels signing. Well, before creation of the first European community, the treaty was signed on 17th of March 1948 by Belgium, France, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom to guard against possible German or Soviet aggression after the end of the Second World War. It was maybe the first step to create such form of collective security system. Well, and after signing this treaty, these countries, these 5 countries, you can see also United Kingdom, these countries wanted to protect themselves from communism proliferation in Europe, and they appealed to the United States of America to get some support, first of all in military sphere, and after this Brussels Pact, this Treaty of Brussels, and after the creation of the Western Union, also the process of creation of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, has started. Okay, and you know that in 1949, NATO was created. Okay, well, the next step was signing the treaty of establishing the economic European defense community in Paris. Also, after signing the treaty about European coal and steel community, European countries, according to the Leven plan, tried to create the political organization, well, as European defense community, and this step was unsuccessful because France blocked a ratification process. Simultaneously with the process of European defense community creation, also there was a project of European political community, but this project also failed in 1854 when it became clear that European defense community wouldn't be ratified by the French National Assembly. Well, as a result, European political community idea had to be abandoned. So idea or concept of federalism didn't enter into force because political integration, it was very difficult process at those time, and only in economic sphere European countries could be unified or integrated. Well, the next stage of European political integration was the creation of the Western European Union. Well, this country tried to start the process of rearmament of Germany, of Western Germany. After the Second World War, as you know, this country was absolutely disarmed, and but as a member of European community, this country could be absolutely equal a member of this community, and United States of America and Western countries, Western European countries wanted to include Western Germany to the NATO, and it was necessary to prepare this country and to rearm this country, and to this end, well, in 1954, the 5 member states of Western Union signed once more a treaty in Paris and amended the Brussels Treaty and created the Western European Union. This organization would be very important in future for European Union in the process of formation of the common defense and security policy. Well, also political cooperation. How political cooperation process took place. The 6 heads of state or government in 1969 met in the Hague Congress to decided to begin a discussion on the nature of the political objectives of the United Europe in the light of its initial enlargement. Also, the foreign minister of Belgian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Etienne d'Avignon, headed a special commission to prepare the report about possible ways of political cooperation between 6 countries. Well, and as you can see, and in Luxembourg, the foreign ministers of the 6 adopted the report of harmonization of foreign policies of the 6, prepared under the direction of the Etienne d'Avignon. Well, this report called for the greater cooperation between the member states of the European communities in the field of the international politics. The next step of European political cooperation was the Tindemans report. According to Leo Tindemans was the Prime Minister of Belgium. He also prepared a report to define what is to be understood by the concept of European Union. But you can see in the middle of 70s, European countries, despite of the crisis processes in Europe and in the world, continued to develop some maybe approaches to create political union, and this report was about European Union creation in 1975. Leo Tindemans gave some recommendations. First of all, to consolidate of existing institutions, to develop of common policies, to strengthen our parliamentary power, and to create the special European agency. Well, the next very interesting and important step was the initiate of 2 maybe Minister for Foreign Affairs, Henscher and Kalamba. Hans-Dietrich Henscher, German foreign minister, he proposed to weaken the veto power and make a strong political cooperation of the EU. Also, his counterpart, the Italian Christian Democrat colleague, Emilio Colombo, he joined to this proposition, and together they appealed to European Commission with the initiative to start the preparation process for European Union creation. Well, during the next Stuttgart declaration in Stuttgart in Germany, in 1983, the 10 heads of states or government of the member states of the European communities met and signed the Stuttgart Solemn Declaration on European Union. Well, Spinelli, can you remember Spinelli? He was very active participant of Italian resistance movement during the Second World War. He, in 1984, initiated the special maybe idea or drafted the project of modifying the community institutions. Well, and he was well, he drafted the single act. Author of the single act to prepare the project of the European Union creation process. Well, the single European Act was very important basis document among other European legislative documentation. Well, and the Single European Act was a special document with a white paper of the list of different tasks, more than 100 tasks for European community countries within the preparation process to create the European Union. Well, and at last, on February the 7th, 1992, the Ministers of Foreign Affairs and Finance of the 12 member states at those time of the European communities at last signed the Treaty on European Union in Maastricht, Netherlands, and this treaty comes into force on November the 1st, 1993, and well, very important structure had appeared at those time, absolutely unprecedented, without any precedence, and well, European countries created 3 pillars building according to the Maastricht Treaty. Well, the first pillar, it was existed European communities, you can see European community, European coal and steel community, European atomic energy community, or Euratom. Well, all these communities as one European community were the first pillar. Within this pillar, the supranationalism mechanism of decision making existed. Community integration method, you can see, but also two new pillars was created. First of all, the second pillar was called Common Foreign and Security Policy. At last, some political integration processes be fostered, and but only intergovernmental cooperation method existed within the second pillar. And the third pillar, it was cooperation in the field of justice and home affairs. Also, intergovernmental cooperation methods existed. Okay, according to this building, you can see there is maybe some house or some building, only in the first pillar, supranational principle, legislative principle existed, but in the second and the third pillar, intergovernmental. What does it mean? All decisions were made by simple majority, by simple majority. Well, we are interested in a common foreign and security policy when we are talking about political integration. Well, and this second pillar objectives were to safeguard the common values, fundamental interests, and independence of the Union, to strengthen the security of the Union and its member states in all ways. So the task was to preserve peace, to strengthen international security, promote international cooperation, and so far. Okay, and also the common security and defense policy as a branch of the common foreign and security policy has started at those time. The common security and defense policy enables the Union to take a leading role in peacekeeping operations, conflict prevention, and in the strengthening of the international security. It is very important integral part of the EU's comprehensive approach towards crisis management, not only in Europe, but in neighbors countries, and in the world also, not only in military spheres, but also in civilian sphere. The scale and complexity of the interlinked security threats and challenges that the EU is facing after and beyond the capacity of a single member state. This country decided to work closer together on EU level to build a strong common security and defense policy. After signing the Treaty of Amsterdam, Amsterdam is the capital of, not capital, but maybe diplomat capital of Netherlands. Well, this treaty was adopted by EU in June 1997 and entered into force in 1999. This treaty was very important in the process of the common security and defense policy building. Well, this treaty created a basis for this policy. It increased the responsibilities in the realm of peacekeeping and humanitarian work. And also the second pillar, yes, of the EU building was strengthened by starting the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy position establishing. Okay. And the first High Representative was Javier Solana. Javier Solana, as you know, maybe he was the former Secretary General of NATO. Well, by this position, European Union connected itself with some NATO structures and, well, started cooperate with NATO more and more closer. Okay, well, after beginning of Prime Minister Anthony Blair, Prime Minister of Great Britain, Anthony Blair, Great Britain became began to start more important role in the European Union. And according to the initiative of Anthony Blair and French President Jacques Chirac, who met in the Saint-Malo, the declaration about building European military force was adopted, and this process was capable of autonomous actions. According to the Cologne European Council, in June 1999, member states reaffirmed the Union's willingness to develop capabilities for autonomous actions. And also they are backed up by credible military forces. Well, cooperating with NATO it made possible to conduct special Berlin Plus agreement. Berlin Plus agreement on December 2002. This was special agreement between the EU and the NATO, and this allowed the EU to make use the NATO assets and capabilities for EU-led crisis management operations. Okay, maybe as you know, from 2003, EU led its own peacekeeping operation. First of all, in Macedonia instead of NATO, and after some changes of strategy of NATO's strategy in Europe, European Union played from the beginning of 2000 years more important role in peacekeeping, crisis management, and so on in Europe. Also, in 2003, European security strategy was adopted. The document analyzed security environment, and this document identified key security challenges and subsequent political implications for the EU. And at last, Treaty of Lisbon, which was ratified in 2009, at last included both a mutual assistance and a solidarity clause, and allowed for the creation of the European External Action Service under the authority of the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. Very important distinct functions of this post gave the High Representative the possibility to bring all the necessary EU assets together and to apply a comprehensive approach to the EU crisis management. That's why today European Union has all the possibilities to regulate or to solve any problems, not only diplomatic instruments, but also by military instruments. Well, in 2016, the global strategy was adopted. Former High Representative on Foreign Affairs, Mogherini, she proposed a comprehensive package of measures in the areas of security and defense, and also this was a very important step for further strengthening of the EU as a global actor in security sphere. Well, and also maybe there was some new instruments in EU, for example, new institutionalized forms of the EU security and defense policy. First of all, the Passcode. It was a special treaty of a frame treaty for deepening defense cooperation among the EU country members. And also this instrument was to enhance the EU's capacity in the international security actor to contribute to the protection of the EU citizens and maximize the effectiveness of defense spending. Well, maybe but nowadays in 2020, Second, the strategy, вот что это я вижу? Ничего. The strategy нельзя брать. Strategic compass for security and defense was adopted as maybe as last very important instrument. Document made the concrete and actionable proposals with specific military forces with a very precise timetable for implementation. And well, according to all these steps, nowadays, European Union provides about 17 different operations, military and civilian operations, not only in Eastern Europe, but also in Africa and close East and so on. Well, and maybe last very interesting step was our initiative of the European political community creation. Well, the European political community was proposed by the French President Emmanuel Macron at the conference on the future of Europe on May the 9th in 2022, after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, in his role as a president of the Council of the European Union. The president of the European Council, Charles Michel, also put forward a similar proposal for the establishment of the European geopolitical community. Yes, you can see on this map, not only European countries are the members of this community, but much more wider. And also Ukraine is a member of this European political community. As a new institution. Well, on June 1922, formation of the community was agreed at the meeting of the European Council, and on September 2022, the United Kingdom announced that it would participate in the community too. You can see that maybe you know that the Great Britain passed the process of Brexit. Well, in 2020, it was a precedent that the Great Britain entered, well, not entered, but existed from the European Union, but United Kingdom announced that would participate in this community, and 20 or 44 states also attended this forum. Russia and Belarus were deliberately excluded from the participation. In January 2023, it was confirmed that San Marino also joined the community and become its 45th participating states. Well, maybe as a conclusion, as the European political community aims at strengthening the links between EU member states and non-EU member states who share the same European values, increasing cooperation between the member countries on a large scale of topics such as peace, security, energy, climate, migration, and the current economic situation, and also allowing candidate states to start taking part in some European projects, such as student or university exchanges. Also, you can see, you can maybe know that also Ukraine, our country, appealed to European Commission to be the member of the European Union. and got the status as a candidate to be the member of the European Union. Now, thank you for attention. I'm very pleased by your attention, and if you have any questions, I'm ready to answer.
Thank you for a wonderful presentation. And then we will go to the next session, Q&A session. For our audience, if you want to ask question, you can raise your hand or you can write in the room chat.
Okay.
Okay, for first question, we have from Miss Febriana. What is the most appreciated strategy?
Communication technology. Well, thank you for your question. Your question is about some strategies. Yeah, well, technologies are very important in our informational society, and also European Union has a lot of strategies strategies about communications and about building the informational society. You know about some informational wars between states, and it is very important to have comprehensive instruments to protect themselves from absolutely different informational weapon. Okay, well, strategy for state is to build, maybe first of all, digital society to create special sphere or area for all the users in absolutely all spheres of life, economic, social, and so on. Also to have different instruments for cyber protection. And European Union proposes a lot of special projects to take part in, and that's all, maybe. Thank you. Sure.
Okay, thank you. And the next question, this is from Mr. Solikan.
Well, social integration. It's very interesting question. Thank you. Because if you are talking about European integration, it is a very important problem to connect national identity and European citizenship simultaneously. It is very important to save national identities features because, you know, absolutely different countries are members of in European Union, and not only by mentality, but also religious features. There are Christians, Muslims, maybe, and Christian of different directions also. Well, and simultaneously, European Union protects European citizens, and it gives a vast variety of possibilities, not only in social spheres, but also simultaneously build homogeneous society, and as one organism, European organism. And if you're talking about pluralistic society, well, European Union has a European Parliament with a right with the process of elections across the countries, and European citizens have a possibility to elect European Parliament, different parties, and so on. That's why all the democratic rights of pluralistic society has been resolved. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and the next question, this is from Mr. Faiz.
Кто такие голосы? National integration of the era of globalization. Wow, very interesting, important question, because all adolescents have gadgets, different messengers, different nets to connect between each other. Nowadays, globalization is absolutely natural process, and every kid, every knows about how to get another kid from the other part of the world. And for example, my son in Discord has chatted every day in English and special slang with different friends from over the world. And it maybe for adult people it is not so understandable, but for adolescents it's absolutely normal and natural process. But also the European Union has special instrument to protect young people from different threats of this absolutely violent world. And there are some programs. There are some programs between, not only in European Union, but these programs are proposed for other countries, projects for education, for creativity process for adolescents, and so on. So it is very important on the level of the schools, of university, to take part in these processes, in these projects, and in order to develop maybe not interconnections between young people, but also to keep them in the atmosphere of health atmosphere, health connections in this crucial maybe time of our life. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And the last question, this is from Mr. Sukamto. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your question. Well, I'll try to answer on your question by my country example. Okay, if you know from the news, there is a war between Russia and Ukraine nowadays, and it's very bloody war. It's very hard situation for our country because we are in conflict. Yes, my country in conflict with Russia, Russian aggressor. But nevertheless, it is not only example. For example, Macedonia in 2001 had civilian war with Albania, and it was not within the country. It was a civilian war, and some internal or external factors took place, and the European Union played important role in not only in settlement of this conflict, but also involving Macedonia to the process of association, to help this country to resolve this conflict much more faster, maybe. Well, so in the example of my country, there are a lot of European Union steps, not only to support our country, not only to help in this very hard situation, but also European Parliament, European Commission adopted decisions to conclude our country to the European family, to European Union, despite of the conflict, proposes us to be the member of this organization, and promises to start process of joining to the European Union after the war. Well, that my opinion is this: it is absolutely possible to start process of integration during the conflict situation. Yes, thank you. And maybe due to this conflict, the process of organization, maybe this conflict is a catalytic plays a catalytic role in this process of integration, Ukraine integration to the European Union. Thank you.
Thank you so much for answering. I think it's very clear answer from Professora. I guess no one else asking. Again, may I continue to the next session for time take a picture? This session will be handled with Miss Febri. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Novita. For those who haven't activated the camera, you can activate the camera first so we can take photos together. Ya, bagi peserta yang belum mengaktifkan kameranya, bisa diaktifkan terlebih dahulu agar kita bisa mendokumentasi acara di siang hari ini. Oke. Oke, saya tunggu. Okay, let me count from 1, 2, 3. Let's get 1, 2, 3. Okay, I will return the event to Miss Novita. Thank you.
Finally, we come to the end of visiting lecture today. We would like to say thanks again for also speaker for their wonderful information. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. We hope this information will be beneficial for all audience, and I hope we can meet again in another event in the future. Also, I would like to thank all participants for attending this class today and making this event more interesting. At least we hope to have more collaboration in the future. The visiting lecture for today, and here we hope to see you soon. Thank you and have a nice day. maybe from doctor you will say something before. Is it okay? Yeah.
Thank you very much for attention. See you. Bye.
Bye. And
Have a nice day. Thank you.
nice to see you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye bye everyone.
Bagi yang belum absen, bisa absen terlebih dahulu. Link absen sudah tertera di kolom chat. Okay, I think that's enough for today's event. Thank you. Good afternoon. Have a good rest. Bye-bye.